Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us this afternoon. We've heard from Sue and Maggie about Asia this morning, and from John Carlo about Europe. Now it's time to hear a little bit about the Middle East. I'd like to present a few key findings from the Middle East Online Travel Overview. The report was published in February this year and provides an analysis and sizing for the online and total leisure travel market for the Middle East region, as well as projections through 2021. In terms of online penetration, the US and Europe are in the lead, with nearly half of all travel booked online. They are followed by Asia, somewhat similar in market size, but where online penetration still lags behind. Latin America, the Middle East, and Eastern Europe are also behind the US and Europe, but are catching up as more and more travelers embrace online booking. By 2020, it is expected that the Middle East and Eastern Europe will be on similar online penetration levels. The Middle East specifically is still one of the lowest. Online penetration levels in 2016 reached 29%, and are expected to reach 41% by the end of 2021. As a point of comparison, in 2010, it was just 13.4%. The predominance of the UAE market plays a major part. In 2016, 58% of online bookings originated from the UAE, and we forecast that it will reach 61% in 2021. Let's take a look at a few key figures for the region. Let me clarify that we define the Middle East region as 9 countries: the GCC, Lebanon, Jordan, and Egypt. Based on 2016 data, over 30% of hotel inventory is operated by global brands. The share for non-branded hotels increased from 51% in 2014 to 62% in 2016. Taking share from the global brands. This reflects the desire of local owners who decide to deflag and manage their own operations, and also an increase in regional operators. 4- and 5-star hotel inventory continues to dominate the market at 62%. It's a luxury market. Nearly 40% of the Middle East 165 million residents are under the age of 20 years old. And an additional 27% are millennials aged between 20 and 34. It's a high internet and smartphone penetration, 72%. Let's look at online bookings and channel share. The Middle East region has experienced a double-digit year-on-year online growth. 2015 versus 2016, an increase of 12%. And 2016 versus 2017, we're expecting an increase of 16% with online gross bookings. As a point of comparison, let's look at some figures from 2010. In 2010, OTA online share represented 46%. In 2021, this is expected to be 42%. This is buoyed by the large but fragmented hotel segment, which relies on intermediaries, in particular the non-branded properties. As you can see, mobile share predicted for 2021 is 22%. There was no mobile share in 2010, and in 2016 it was just 9%. Website and supplies direct share, 54% in 2010, compared with 36% in 2021 and 50% in 2016. Again, driven by the hotel segment and their reliance on OTAs. So what supports online travel or online growth in this travel market in the Middle East region? We've already mentioned the region's population are young and highly connected, 38% below the age of 20 years, and another 27% millennials. High penetration level of 72%. It's a young and highly connected audience captivated by all things digital. Travel patterns are changing, still driven by comfort and strong habits, but young travelers are more comfortable visiting new destinations. They travel more frequently for shorter periods of time and are more budget conscious. This has a direct impact on low-cost carriers, for example. Domestic and regional travel to Dubai, Egypt, and Saudi continues to thrive. London, Paris, Switzerland, Malaysia, Thailand, Far East still continue to represent strong outbound destinations. India, Pakistan, and the Philippines reflects expat travel home. And new destinations are emerging in Central Europe, the Far East, and Central Asia, replacing previously popular spots in the Mediterranean. Demographics also has an impact on online payment. According to Payfort, between 2014 and 2015, online payment transactions increased by 23%. This was impacted by an increase of 40% from Saudi and an increase of 24% from the UAE. Let's take a look now at the different online players in the region. What does the landscape look like? Search engines are pretty much the same as other regions, represented by Google, YouTube, Bing, Facebook, and Yahoo. Meta search engines are playing a more important role in Middle East travel purchasing. Hotels Combined, Ouigo, Trivago, all made extra investment in traditional advertising campaigns in the region, as well as adding native language and Arabic content to their websites and also to their apps. Meta search is becoming a more serious competition for OTAs. Key global OTAs, again, very similar to other regions. Typical suspects like Booking.com, Agoda. But the most important significance in the last few years is really the emergence of a new breed of OTAs and online agents, such as Tajawal, which was established in 2015, and we'll be hearing from its CEO in a few minutes. Musafir, launched in Sharjah in 2007. Fly-In, launched in Riyadh in 2010. And Holiday Me Dubai, again, launched in Dubai in 2014. Traditional or hybrid agents, such as dnata, Al-Sharaf, Al-Fazan, all play an important role in the Middle East travel market. They have strong customer relationships, strong customer support systems, loyalty programs, and a huge amount of their gross bookings are coming from online channels. 15% was recorded. So this has started to blur the lines between traditional, offline, and online agents. Let me welcome our two panelists on stage. Mohammed Chbib, who manages the online business unit for Altayyar Travel Group. Welcome, Mohammed. Also the CEO for Tajawal. And Paul Hopkinson, Marketing Director for the dnata Travel Group in the UK. Hi, Paul. Let me pop that down. Thank you for joining us all the way from Dubai.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me.
I understand you were at the conference yesterday as well?
Yes.
Have you enjoyed it?
Amazing.
Good. And Paul, you join us from dnata's offices in London.
That's correct, that's right. Thank you.
Okay, Mohammed, if I can jump in, first of all, with a question for you. Al-Musafir and Tajawal are obviously making a big difference in the landscape in Dubai in terms of an online agent that are giving Booking.com a run for their money. Can you share with the audience a couple of the reasons why this is happening and how you're being successful in achieving this?
I think as we have seen in the numbers, the Middle East is still a pretty offline market, but with a strong tendency towards moving online. The transformation rate of moving offline to online is faster than in any other region in the world. The second factor that plays a role is what you said, is we have, I think, 55% of the population is below 33, 34 years old. Very young, very well connected, just a figure that gives you a feeling for that. The highest usage of YouTube and Twitter in the world is in Saudi Arabia. And the highest usage of, so Twitter and YouTube in Saudi Arabia is the highest usage worldwide. I think on average they sit 6 hours per day on these 2 channels only. Snapchat is emerging as a key market now, is Saudi Arabia and UAE. And people are hungry to explore the world now. The Middle Eastern people have always been travelers, and with online agents emerging such as us, and we run 2 brands, Al Musafir and Tajawal, this has been just riding this wave of transformation from offline to online and feeding people's interest.
Does the importance of having local content or Arabic language make a big difference to online agents like yourselves?
Yeah, I think that's crucial. We've scaled within 2 years from 0 to $500 million in net sales based on understanding the consumer needs locally and localizing the content that we get internationally into what these people really look for. So creating your own content, unique content for travelers in the Middle East, Arabic travelers predominantly in the Middle East, I think is a huge difference to the standard offerings you would find worldwide. Obviously, as a local player, we have a different access to the market, and we focus our investments entirely on this region, whereas a global player obviously needs to nourish different countries, different regions with a pretty much standardized product.
Correct. Okay, Paul, over to you. So you're our inbound expert.
That's correct.
For Europe. Obviously, you've got Travel Bag and Net Flights, which are 2 of the brands under Dnata Travel in the UK. Can you tell us, the Middle East was traditionally perceived as a very luxury destination, in particular the UAE. Is this still very much the case, or has this changed in the last couple of years?
Okay, just to put in context, so I look after outbound in the UK for consumer B2C brands, and our market is very much the UAE and sort of Qatar, Bahrain, etc. So that's the context of this. They're the destination regions I'm talking about. In terms of the region as luxury, firstly, as everyone is in marketing in this current, it's defining luxury. There are 2 sides to luxury. There's the opulent premium luxury, which, yes, very much the region offers, but something more important to us as a business is what's evolved over the last few years, and potentially an overused word, it being affordable luxury. And the reason I say affordable luxury is that the UAE in particular offers a very high benchmark of product and service.
Correct.
From hotel inventory to food and beverage to leisure facilities and services. They've set a standard very high. So to speak, it's expected that you will receive that luxurious level, but not to be confused with opulence, because that is there, but it's the affordable luxury. The region's also constantly innovating hotels, experiences. Again, that's adding to the value of that destination as a premium destination. At the same time, though, it has achievable price points. So you're getting affordable luxury at a price you could also afford in other long-haul destinations for the market. In addition, combining affordable luxury, innovation, achievable price points, it appeals to multiple demographic. So whereas traditionally you were looking at maybe a couple AB1 40 plus, it's appealing to the millennial market, the family market. So it's right. Ticking, it's innovated, and it's ticking a lot of boxes. You could say they're actually leading the path for tourism globally, because the way they've addressed the customer, especially the Western customer, what they expect from a tourism holiday.
Jumping back to you, Mohammed, we saw in the presentation, obviously, online booking penetration is increasing from year on year. What measures, what steps are you putting in place with regards to tajawal and Al Musafir to kind of deal with that amount of online booking and the change in consumers' behavior in terms of their online booking and their online payment? What are you doing differently?
I think what we're trying to understand is that we are still in an offline market, and the consumer journey actually jumps between offline and online all the time. There's a lot of people that actually walk into travel agencies, they get consulting in travel agencies, then move to online, then do their price comparison on the various sites, then do Meta, etc.
Right.
At the end of the day, you can get them only into your sales funnel when you understand this journey. That's what we try to do, and we try to do that with a massive investment in our data stack. I think that's the first thing that we do. We do that as well in splitting our budget, our marketing budget, in half between online and offline. So we do a lot of, which I would not do probably if I was in Europe with the same concept. do so much outdoor advertising. We do a little bit of TV, but mostly outdoor advertising, branding, because in the Middle East, consumers think only if you're present on TV and outside on boards on the street, then you're a real company. Understanding that consumer thinking, I think, is key. And this is measured, obviously, regularly by data. We run focus groups. We run a lot of consumer insight sessions where we understand how they behave. And then we try to replicate what they do when they walk into an agency on our platform, mobile and desktop.
So we have a figure in the Middle East for a lot of global OTAs that estimate they're spending roughly 80% of their marketing campaigns on digital. Is it a similar spend for you and also for you, Paul? I mean, how does that compare?
We do, our budget for this year is 50%
on digital
and 50% on performance marketing, 50% on branding. However, on the branding side, we do probably 50% offline and 50% online. So I consider YouTube branding a branding investment, but it's an online branding investment at the end of the day.
And for you, Paul, is that similar?
Yeah, I'd say very similar, particularly when you look at going back to the product and price point. It's the Middle East, the UAE is a very highly competitive tourism product.
Right.
Margins are challenging at the moment. There's a lot of competition out there. Some of the meta sites you've alluded to earlier, again, it's another form of competition for us. And of course, as we're all customers of Google, who have these great cost per clicks, which keep us busy. So very much so, from a performance marketing perspective, it's very much a focus of what we do. It's a large percentage of our budget, and it's becoming I'd say it's probably becoming a lot more challenging to market the region from a price point because of the online competition, the traditional competitions as well, and the cost per acquisitions as well, which are always why, as you've alluded to, we have to keep reinventing ourselves, look at our brand positioning, look at our loyalty, look at other ways to acquire that customer, but at the same time, obviously investing in those very important digital channels.
Again, we saw earlier that traditional European destinations tend to be favoured by Middle Eastern travellers, so the likes of Switzerland, France, the UK, and generally the key cities. Is this still the case, or can you see other destinations emerging in the last couple of years? What's new on the horizon? Yeah,
the standard cliche obviously is you fly to London with your family, you stay in Park Lane, and you go shopping at Harrods, right? That has been the case in the past,
or for health checks.
Decades. What we have seen in the past 2 years since we operate our platforms is that there is increasing demand into trying out something new. People still do the London trip, but they may do it for 2 weeks rather than the 4 weeks they used to do it 10 years ago or 5 years ago. And then the other two weeks in summer, they try other destinations, Bosnia, for example, has been very popular, specifically for travelers from Saudi Arabia and UAE.
But why is that? Is that due to the different low-cost carriers offering new routes? Is it
I think there's a combination of things. First of all, visa, obviously. When you have easy visa or no visa, that plays a role. The second thing is access to cheap flights, and there is low-cost carriers flying there. The third thing also is that people look for what they don't have in the Middle East. And what we have in the Middle East is everything luxurious. We have shopping malls, we have everything you can imagine in terms of consumption. Mm-hmm. What we don't have is green scenery, right? So there's something, if you go to a country like, and really rich heritage and old, like decades of heritage or centuries of heritage. So when they go to Bosnia, for example, they find green everywhere, they find lakes, they find food that they can deal with. It's a halal-driven country. When they go to Azerbaijan, when they go to Georgia, Armenia, they find similar things. When they want to try out something completely new, then we look at the Far East, we look at Malaysia, Indonesia, we look as well as at Thailand, which has become also very popular. So people have opened up a lot more. And I think one factor also is the young population that consumes a lot of information digital. So they see what's out there in the world, and they started seeing it in the last 4 or 5 years, and now they want to experience it.
Question for you, Paul. Dubai Expo 2020, and of course the FIFA World Cup in Doha in 2022. Are they big game changers for inbound operators like yourselves, and how are you using them to try and drive more business to those regions?
Very much so. Firstly, I'd just like to say in regards to Dubai Expo, that is significant recognition of the importance of the region as a global tourism influencer. And I believe it's the first expo that's ever been in that region, Asia, Middle East, Africa. So it's a significant achievement for them, first of all. And also the legacy it's going to create, and actually the legacy it started to create. I know it was you're a resident of Dubai. Dubai already, you've seen the city walk development, Dubai Opera, Dubai Water Canal. You've got IMG, the World of Adventures, the biggest indoor theme park in the world. Dubai Parks and Resorts. Dubai's goal is to increase room capacity by 10% over the next 24 months. There's significant investment already going into the region as a result of the Expo, and we haven't even had it yet. Post-Expo, sorry, before the Expo even starts, we're looking at Dubai Safari Park, Dubai Creek, Dubai Eye, Dubai Harbour Product. I mean, the government is investing a significant amount of money for the sake of the Expo, and the influence on tourism, on social, on employment. I mean, this is a significant achievement. I keep using the word significant. It really is for the region and wider, and the effect it will have on the rest of the region as well. And obviously, and lastly, you alluded to obviously the World Cup in Qatar. Obviously, there's been a bit of controversy over the appointment of that. Regardless, that is a fantastic achievement. And as a tour operator in the United Kingdom, we work very closely with Qatar Tourism. You know, that's a destination which a few years ago people wouldn't have thought twice about. A, working with, B, marketing, but for us, we're seeing significant growth already, and just basically a reminder of, you know, that region isn't just about Dubai. There's a lot of other destinations which are very appealing to the consumer. Which
leads me into my next question. Of course, Dubai has been on the radar for many, many years, Qatar more recently, and now Saudi is beginning to appear. Have you got plans afoot to begin putting that on the radar for UK customers or European travellers?
Well, I'd say currently we don't have a tourism program in that region. We haven't engaged as of yet with the tourism body for the region. However, as I just alluded to, if you look at Qatar as an example, a couple of years ago, it wasn't even on our radar, and now we've got programs in there. They've developed their tourism structure. So why not? The whole region is just bursting with opportunities. And I think it's just a matter of time. If anything, they're all in competition with each other, you know, which is great because everyone wants to increase their standards, increase their tourism offering. I don't see any reason why not if the infrastructure is there for it.
I guess it's knowing how to differentiate between the different destinations, though. I mean, it becomes quite difficult, I'm presuming, to differentiate between a destination like Dubai and Abu Dhabi, which are similar in some respects, whereas
Saudi is different. Saudi is very different. Saudi, if you look at what UAE has created, or Dubai specifically, Abu Dhabi is still not on the level of Dubai, but if you look at Doha and if you look at Dubai and you compare it with Saudi Arabia actually has heritage. It has the Red Sea diving sites, it has volcano sites, it has archaeological sites, it has so much richness in the country that no one knows of because of the negative media of the past decades. And I think this is changing as we speak. There's a lot of push into creating a destination in Saudi that attracts tourism beyond religious tourism. And if all the investments, and we're talking about hundreds of billions of dollars that are planned to be deployed in the next 5 to 10 years, go in place, then you will see a destination that probably is far larger than what we see at the moment in both Doha and Dubai.
Thank you very much. I think that's our prompt to bring everything to a close. Thank you very much, everybody, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Paul.